You know, it pisses me off. And these people are talking about how to be charismatic, right? How to be magnetic, how to be able to get people to chase you, all this stuff. And then they start bringing up shake someone's hand, look them in the eyes, remember their name, okay? That bullshit from the book, which everybody just recites time and time again, how to win friends and influence people, and this and that, and this and that. And essentially, all they tell you is, hey man, just be nice. Like we all didn't fucking already know that, okay? I think every person can understand and knows, like, hey, what is being nice? Okay, shake someone's hand. Okay, remember their name. Okay, ask them how they're doing. Okay, ask them about their own interest. If you want to be nice, that's easy, right? Being nice is easy. That doesn't give you shit, okay? That doesn't give you fuck all. You can be just nice if you're an extremely high status person, if you already got everything you want, and if you don't need anything from the other person, and if you're in a position where they are chasing you just because you already have higher status, then you can sit back, relax, and be nice and all of that shit, okay? But if you're in a position where you're still building your life, where you're still building your qualities, where you're still building your success, then you're gonna have to approach this from a different setting, from a different mental position, from a different mindset. The reason for that is that you don't have default value, right? Unless you're a pretty woman, right? As we all know. You don't have any value yet, okay? So you being nice puts you in an inferior position by default, okay? Because people who are nice, and this is just the truth. I'm not saying be an asshole always, right? I'm just saying we gotta understand how people work. If you're nice, if you're forthcoming, if you're attention giving, if you're asking someone all about themselves, this and that, by nature, right? By fucking physics, lowers your value. It cannot do any otherwise, okay? Because if you're coming forward, right? If you're coming towards someone, that always lowers your value. It may not lower it by much, and they may still like you. I'm not saying it's always bad. I'm just saying if it's anything, it's lowering your value, right? Just like, okay, if you see a pretty girl on the street, well, essentially going up and talking to her, even though it's confident and maybe you're funny and this and that, it still lowers your value to a certain degree because the coolest person in the world wouldn't have even come up to her, right? Because he's so busy, has so many options, he is so abundant, he doesn't even have the time of day to go, okay? He doesn't even want to put in the effort, right? And so that's just a simple example of that. So we can throw out the window everything that you've heard about, remember the name, this and that. Look, those things can work, but once again, most of the time, when you're thinking about how to be more influential socially, right? Whether that's in a networking setting, whether that's, okay, you're trying to like link up with this business guy, whether you're trying to date prettier girls, whether you're trying to, be more intimidating in the boxing gym, whatever it is, okay? Usually we need more of the right side of the spectrum than the left side. Usually everybody is just fucking okay, just fucking fine with handling the left side, meaning left is like the more nice, more forthcoming, more attention giving side, and the right side is a bit more of the asshole side, a bit more of the hard, right? A bit more of the edgy and attractive side like that, okay? And so anyways, this side spikes value in people's eyes. So what you got to understand is that if you are walking up as Brad Pitt, then you can be very nice, right? Because you already have established value. Everybody always says, I look like Brad Pitt. People on this channel don't seem to really agree, okay? Let me know in the comments what you think.
Sir, say it. Say what you said.
You do
Look like Brad Pitt.
I look like Brad Pitt. You hear that?
Anyhow, in reality, I get actually told very regularly that I look like Conor McGregor. That is actually reality, and I'm not fucking around. People actually tell me that. Now, I don't know if that is because I walk around like I'm the fucking man or if I'm, actually looking like him, but that's besides the point. The point here is that is that side and that is that side. Now, if you're already having all that established value because you're amazing looking or because also the context dependent this is, right? Obviously, if you're, very wealthy and everybody knows that, if you're very famous, yes, then you can be very nice. Don't you know all of those times that a celebrity does something completely normal, okay? They just fucking stop to talk to someone for a minute. and everybody is in up in arms about it. Why? If you did that, nobody would give a fuck, okay? They would just be like, all right, cool, man. They don't give a shit. Why? Because you don't have established value, right? On this side. So if you do this side, it doesn't make you cool. It's essentially the same thing as the guy who's like ugly as fuck, doesn't have a fucking, purpose in his life, whatever, has no options as far as women goes, right? Has zero options, and then he is loyal. Hey, great, man. But if you wouldn't, essentially, you're loyal, and maybe, we don't know, right? Some people speak about this in a absolute sense, which I don't agree with, because you can't look into other people's minds. But if that guy would have the options, would he still be loyal? And that's the real question, okay? And so some guys, they will, right? But most guys, I would argue, would not actually be loyal if they had the options. So you're as loyal as your options most of the time, okay? It depends on the person. Because there's also people with real integrity. I do believe in that, okay? There's also people who actually wouldn't do it. And that's guys and girls alike. Anyway, staying on topic, right? If you are in a position right now where you're the type of person that, okay, when you walk into a room, you don't have any pre-established value, right? Because you're not famous, you're not rich yet. You're working hard on that, my friend. Don't fucking skip that step, okay? Work on your wealth. But this mentality, this mindset is gonna help you get there. Okay, because this charisma, this confidence, right? What are the ways to make money online nowadays, or to make money in general nowadays? Well, you need to be charismatic online. You need to be able to express yourself. You need to sell people on your stuff, right? Your confidence levels and your self-image and your self-perception, right? And your price tag that you put in yourself is going to go out into the world and is going to manifest back the exact amount that you had in your mind, right? So all of this stuff directly relates to your income, and that's also what we help people with. And by the way, if you are interested in our group that we have, okay, where I teach you this stuff and I literally reprogram your subconscious mind to be more confident, charismatic in 90 days or less, and also attract more wealth in your life and more social success, if you know what I mean, then go ahead and shoot me a DM on my Instagram. It's @BoydHook, okay? Just shoot me a DM with a group and then we'll get you taken care of. So anyways, with that being said, right, if you're walking in to an environment like that still at this point, then you need to signal value, right? You need to signal value. How do you signal value? Well, value is something that people can essentially assess from a couple different ways. Number one is, superficial value, right? So that is things like, okay, are you walking in with some, fancy ass jewelry, right? I got some Cartier, I got some Van Cleef, and I got some bullshit ring that is not even gold from Bali just because I lost my actual gold ring. Or my buddy actually took it by accident. Probably fucking stole it on purpose, but anyways. So if you have pre-established value, yes, that can help you, right? But if you rock up in a Lambo, but then your communication is very shit, then it's gonna make you look even worse, because you should be like this because you already have set the tone like that. You set the bar for yourself like that. But then if you're like, hello, right? Then obviously, boom, you go through the fucking floor, right? So if you have high pre-established value, right, because of your fame or whatever, and you just walk up like an absolute wimp, then it also doesn't make sense. Like I once had a guy in my team who's just a big guy, right? Guy was just big, looked good, right? Was a handsome, big guy, muscular, big dude. But then he was just not really alpha when he was, speaking to people, what they would expect of him. And then it's kind of like that much worse, right? Because it's like, well, we expect this from you. You have all this going for you, and then you're still not that confident. Like, it's actually a double, an exponentially detrimental effect. So anyways, that's your pre-established value, right? So that's what people perceive you as far as like, superficial things like, okay, what are you wearing, right? What do you look like? Even things like who do you know, etc., right? So that can be very powerful. There's often people that are only on this side or only on this side or whatever, right? So that can be extremely powerful. Like I've had many times, like you just walk into the club, you just know so many people, and that just social proofs the fuck out of you, right? And so that can be extremely powerful. And that's all coming down to status. Everything is status, okay? Because status, right? When people feel status, that's what triggers attraction, okay? It's essentially status, and then combine that with some form of connection, some level of connection, depending on, the context that we're talking about. And if you combine that, you have attraction, right? So status or value, right? It's essentially value, but status is what really signals value, right? And that can come in many different forms. It can come in wealth, it can come in knowing people, it can come in whatever, right? Praise from other people, etc. And then if you build connection with that, then you have attraction, right? And that goes for networking, friendships, whatever. And many people, they just talk about this side. It doesn't make any fucking sense because, you know, you have to build this side. This is actually way more important. This is the easy stuff, okay? So anyways, that is the first part, right? Of how you can signal status, how you can signal value. And that is something that I teach all my guys always. Always build your value. Every single day, build your value, right? We're talking about building your external value. And then later on, we're going to talk about your internal value. But you always want to be building that. Not because you want to be dependent on it, but for yourself mostly, right? For your own life. You want to build your money. You want to become a multimillionaire. You want to do this. You want to do that. You want to build a good body. You want to be able to fucking knock dudes out if they talk shit to your girl, whatever, right? You just want to be doing that shit, right? And if you don't, then you're probably on the wrong channel. I'm sorry. Then the second thing, right, is your subcommunication. So many people are always worried about what to fucking say when you meet people. But largely, it's how you say it. And what I mean by that is, you know, your tonality, right, is your body language, the tone of your voice, all of that stuff, right? And so that signals largely whether you feel like the other person is above you or below you or on the same level. I'll give you a quick example because even in your voice, right, you can hear it. When you walk up to a person, and I always give the example of like, if you were, back in the day, you were in elementary school or whatever, and then you talked to the teacher, then you're probably not going to talk, you're probably not going to say, hey, what's the homework for today, right? You're probably going to say, hey, mister, what's the homework for today, right? You're probably going to talk like that. Sounds like a fucking bitch, but that's besides the point. Essentially, you are talking to him like that because you have this in your mind, right? Which is logical because it's your teacher, right? You also don't want to rock up like this, right? You have it like this, you don't want to rock up like this because he's not gonna like you very much. So even for me, right, I purposely do this sometimes. It's not always bad. Like for example, with my boxing coach, I'm not gonna rock up and act like I'm above him because that's not the relationship that we have. And I could do that if I wanted to, but that's not the relationship that I also want to have because that's not gonna be beneficial for either of us, right? He's gonna, if I allow him to be here, right, and I kind of take that mentee role, then we're both gonna get more out of it because I'm gonna be paying more attention. He's gonna be more in his genius because he's feeling, you know, like the boss, right? And I'm not saying that he wouldn't otherwise, and I'm not saying that he's not strong, but I'm just saying like, I do choose to keep that as well, right? So anyways, that's your subcommunication, okay? Also, subcommunication can just be, you know, because some people, oh, this is such stupid advice, such one-sided, you know, very superficial advice that people say like, oh yeah, always look people in the eye, right? Always give them your full attention, this and that. Well, listen, sometimes it can be way more powerful to just be like this, kind of looking around. Let's say that you're at a networking event or, you know, just some dinner with a lot of guys, a lot of high-level dudes. When you're talking to people, you say, hey man, how you doing, man? And you're just kind of like looking around a bit. And then people always say, well, then you give the other person the feeling that you're not, that they're not important to you and this and that. That's exactly what you want, right? Because if you give them an over-importance, then they know, oh, this guy's not that valuable, right? And I'm just talking about the fact that if you don't have that much pre-established value, right? Now, I'm not saying that you completely ignore people and say, you know, that you always want to do this or whatever, right? These are very subtle points and very case-to-case dependent. But I'm just saying nobody talks about this side of the equation. And you want to sprinkle in those little things, right? Or say like, hey man, I'm a mingle for a sec, I'll catch you later, right? And bounce out of there and then come back later, right? If that is something that, you know, you want to establish a relationship with and, you know, you want to actually make something happen there, well, then you need value, right? Because people just respond to value. I didn't make it up, okay? I don't like it either. It could be great, right? If we're all just happy, friendly, and loving. Well, it's not, the world is not always like that, okay? So, and by the way, when I say that, to be honest, there's many relationships that I have that are purely loving and like that. There's relationships with girls even that I have had that are very, very purely loving without ego and without having to play games and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about now is, okay, you want to be charismatic, you want to get results, you're out here in the world trying to make business shit happen, trying to make deals happen. Well, then the perceived value that you have from other people is very important to get results. I'm not necessarily only talking about, okay, genuine relationships, because you want to get to a point where you're heart to heart and you're normal with people and you can be an open book as well to a very large extent. But anyways, getting back to the point. So then it can be very powerful to just go mingle somewhere else, right? Or just look away a little bit. If you're giving someone your full undivided attention, you're coming forth a lot, right? And it depends what situation you're coming from. It depends how much pre-established value you're coming from, right? But that essentially, you're gonna get a feel for this. So as I explain this to you, right? I'm not saying that in every single scenario, I'm constantly ruminating and thinking about this, because that would be extremely low value, right? I'm doing this to help you, right? I'm fucking unpacking my mind here and unpacking my brain of how I always, in any city I go to, bang, 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 1 week I need, right? And I can go anywhere. I can go to all the VIP, I can go to all of this. And also when I was fucking 18 years old, right? And I had not a lot of money still, I also did it, right? And now obviously I don't need to do it because I have a lot of fucking money and I can go wherever I want if I pay for it. But it's still cool to do it with just your social skills, with just your confidence, because there's so much personal growth that you get out of that. So anyway, that is that point, guys. Now then another layer, right, that I'm gonna explain to you is your energy, okay? And this is something that people completely don't even understand what this is, okay? Your energy is actually something, I should have even mentioned it as the second point, right? Because your energy is something that even comes before your subcommunication, okay? Your energy is something that reaches another person before you even make any gesture or micro expression, okay? And so your energy is essentially how you feel internally. And that broadcasts out like an energy station, right? With these waves, okay? And I'm not a woo-woo person, frankly. I'm very down to earth and shit, but this is just something that I've seen is just off the fucking wall effective, okay? And people just don't even know about this. So this energy is something that attracts person. Because this energy is something that you carry around with you 24/7, okay? And whenever you meet a person or whenever someone is even within your vicinity, okay, they feel this off of you. And it either pulls them in or it repels them. So when people talk about magnetic energy, if you ever heard that term, it essentially means like, you know, your energy is magnetic. You pull people in. Even very funny. Some girl that I met in the fucking airport, beautiful girl, okay? Very recently, like literally 3 days ago, in Dubai, and you know, I just approached her, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, the next night we hung out, we went for dinner, and then, you know, things obviously happened from there. And, you know, we had a great time, leave it at that. And so anyways, we had this conversation. You know, we just talked about, okay, like, well, you know, how was this for you when we met, this and that. And she just kept on talking about like my energy, and like, you know, how I came across very confident and this and that, okay? And that she had always has guys talking to her, but it's not, she can feel the doubt, she can feel the insecurity, right? And with me, it was just like, boom. And so anyways, the funniest thing was, and this is my point, is that when we were talking, it was in the airport outside at, you know, like some area where you would go to get picked up or whatever, right? But she had actually, and I had already seen her in the customs line, but she was just too far behind me. So I was like, if I'll see her again, I'll go talk to her. And anyways, then she told me that she had actually already seen me in that custom lines as well. And I had no idea that she had really, you know, checked me out there. And so anyways, she told me that she was attracted to me in the customs line. And I didn't even, like, we didn't have like eye contact, or like I was faced the other way, this and that, right? And by the way, I was wearing just Nike Gymshark shorts and a Nike tee, long fucking thermal t-shirt. Like no special things on this, but it was like under my thing, right? Which is not even, this is a small fucking thing, right? So nothing special about it. It was just an energy thing, right? And so anyways, that is an example of that, right? But I'm gonna give you this example. Let's say that everybody will have encountered this at some point. If you are driving your car or something, and then someone is next to you and pulls up, and they look at you, then without seeing them, you feel someone is looking at you, right? Or even somewhere else, if like for example, I'm very well known in my original country, which is the Netherlands, because I did this documentary on like the Dutch version of Netflix, etc. Blah blah blah. And I used to have a business there. I used to run a lot of ads there. People clip my shit on TikTok a lot. Whatever, right? I said some outrageous shit, as I probably do here now as well. Anyways, and so when I'm there and I know it when someone is looking at me, right? It's an energy thing. Someone looks at you, you feel energy coming towards you. It's something you feel, okay? And so that is something that no one really talks about when they're talking about this charisma thing. Okay, how to be charismatic. Okay, so speak like this. And then they may even talk about subcommunication. I see that, right? Okay, they talk about subcommunication, but they don't talk about the energy thing. So then we need to talk about what is this energy thing? Because your energy, that's the thing that you cannot fake. You can try to, and you can build up to it, and you can get a feel for it, but largely your energy is how you feel about yourself in that current moment and how you feel emotionally. Are you fulfilled? Do you have a full cup? Or are you having half a cup or even an empty cup? I hope not, fellas, right? And you're coming like a motherfucking beggar bitch to other people to fill your shit up, okay? You're asking them, hey, please fill my cup. You're trying to enter other people's party. And that is the energy that you have inside your body. So then whatever you say is gonna fill. You can say whatever you want, it's gonna fill. You can be extremely handsome. You can have an RM on your wrist, whatever, right? It's not gonna work. Because if you approach someone like this, all of that goes out the window. And that's why that is the most important part. That is the fundamental piece that allows you to be charismatic. And nobody talks about it. Okay, because nobody understands it really, right? I should be careful with saying nobody, because there's bound to be people that are really good at this, etc. But I'm just saying I don't see it. So I'm trying to give you some real shit here, some real practical shit that I've used to build an elite level social life in every area. When we're talking about network, business, when we're talking about fucking, socially, whatever. But anyways, that is the first part that this comes from, right? It's your deep inner confidence and also how you feel in that moment. I call this sometimes your mental stance, okay? As we all have a physical stance, and a lot of people are always focused on their physical stance, right? Give you an example. Let's say that you're going boxing, right? And let's say that you're gonna stand like this. Conor McGregor actually did this recently. He was like calling out KSI or something, and he goes like, all fucking drunk and shit. I love Conor McGregor, to be honest, but stand like this. This is a very bad boxing stance, right? Being like this, obviously. So if you're having a boxing coach, he's going to tell you like, okay, bring it right here, right? Or bring it right here and have your head movement, whatever it is, right? Or bring it right here, or even have it low, right? And you're having shoulder rolls and head movement. Bop, bop, bop. As you can see, I'm a fucking pro. Bop. Anyways, that's your physical stance. However, most people completely undermine and forget that they also have a mental stance that is active at any moment in time. And it can be workable for the result that you're trying to get, and it also can be unworkable for the result that you're trying to get in that moment, okay? So if you're approaching a person and you're coming from a mental stance of, hey, I need validation, or I am insecure, or I'm fearful, or I'm afraid, I'm trying to avoid rejection. That's your mental stance, that's the position that you're coming from, is not gonna work. Just like if you're going boxing like this, it's not gonna work. You're gonna get absolutely pieced up. You're gonna get a liver shot there, you're gonna get a hook behind the hands, etc., right? That guard is not gonna do shit for you. So anyways, that is what you need to understand. Your mental stance can be shifted in any moment. But then, right, it's essentially a fake it till you make it, right? But what you gotta understand is that if you build a neurological habit of stepping into a new mental stance and operating from there, you will reinforce that over time more and more and more, okay? And so therefore, it will become your new default. And that is what is real. When people talk about you're not being yourself, when people talk about, oh, you're faking something, they just mean, right? And what that really means, if you think about it, is that it's not your default. Okay? Because whatever is your default is what is really you. But even that is not really you. Because what is really you is the thing that even observes that. Because otherwise, if you changed it, all of a sudden you're not you anymore. So that's also not really true, right? What is really the truth is like that thing in the back of your head, right? That observes, okay, this is what I am now. This is my current default pattern, right? And this is what I actually want to be. Well, this what you want to be is not even you, right? Once you become it, that's not even you. This that observes it is you, okay? When I'm in a relationship with a girl, I always say this. When two people are in a relationship and they have a difference of opinion and they have an issue, then you can be like this. Person one is here and person two is fucking hell. Person two is here. And then the problem is here in the middle, okay? I don't have enough hands to hold this shit up. So the problem is in between them, right? And it's an issue like that. What I always say, right? If I am with a girl, it's like, listen, this problem, it's over here. And we're here. We're looking at the problem over there, okay? We're together over here. The problem is over there, right? And we're looking at it from here, and we're just looking at it, and we're just fixing it together. We're not against each other. We're together, but we do have a problem that's over there, and we're going to look at that and see what has created that. Because listen, we're two different people. We both have a different programming in our subconscious mind. Obviously, I won't really say it like that, right? But I'll just say like a bit more casual. But well, we both have a different mentality. We both have had different experiences that created who we are, that created our blueprint, right? And that may or may not be workable for the result that we want, right? That may or may not be suitable actually. So let's look at this, right? And both look at what is this, right? How do I see this? How do you see this? And let's see if we can find some common ground. And so anyways, that is not a trick, by the way. That is just truth, right? That's just how the world works. And so you can be bashing against each other a lot, but that actually is not going to help anyone. So that is, right, how you can change your mental stance. Your mental stance is your momentary identity. It's your momentary self-perception. It's your momentary how you feel about yourself in that moment, right? And where you are coming from. It's your momentary position. And then your identity is your all-encompassing, right, larger macro perspective identity, right? How you see yourself, who you truly are at a deep core level. And you need to change yourself at a deep identity level changes where you need to produce in order to be extremely charismatic, in order to be having social results that are off the goddamn chain, in order to attract people just with a couple words, right? Or even without any words, like I told you in the airport. That is what is going to allow you to be just massively successful in anything you do, because attraction is really everything. If we're talking about a video, look, obviously these videos are not necessarily that viral, right? Or not viral at all, because I don't make them for that, right? I make these videos to go deep, and it's not for that big of an audience. But ultimately, I will blow up massively, okay? And that is when I'm gonna broaden my message more, and I know exactly my plan for all of that. And so feel free to bookmark this video for when it does happen, because some people will say like, oh yeah, you're not getting that many views, this, that. Listen, for me, I get DMs from you guys like, dude, your videos are so different than anything that I've watched so far. You know, I need to work with you. I need to something, because this is just insanely different. And I know that this is going to help me so much. Or they even just say the first part, right? That makes it all worth it for me. Okay. This is just a true passion of mine. This is not my real business. My real business makes a lot of money, and it's different where we teach business and online business, make money online, that kind of stuff. Okay. Affiliate marketing, etc. Anyways, back to the point at hand. You change your macro identity by changing on a moment-to-moment basis, shifting yourself back to the proper and appropriate mental stance that you need to come from, okay? And so that is gonna allow you to shift into a place of confidence, pop, 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 do it again and do it again. And the second way to do that is to do that visually, right? To visualize yourself as that person, to visualize yourself as having that energy, to visualize yourself pulling people in like that, to visualize yourself closing deals like that, etc. And locking in those feelings and do that every day. And that reprograms your subconscious mind as well, because you can do that faster, because, you know, obviously you can do that a lot, right? You can do the pop, 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 pop. When I work with people in a group or whatever, we do that pop, 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 pop. We just install the winning formula, the winning mentality to get this charisma, to get this confidence, etc. And then the third thing that I'm going to tell you is also something that I can't remember having seen people really talk about. Some people back in the day, right? But listen, presence. Presence is something that is essentially the same concept as having a micro glass, right? You know them fucking things that allow you to see something bigger. Honestly, not sure if that's what it's called in English, but you have that glass, and the sun is shining, and you hold that glass in front of a leaf. What's going to happen? The leaf is going to burn, right? Why? Because you're concentrating all of this energy from the sun into one small point, and now it's going to burn because that is going over the point where it's too hot. Okay, so that concept is what happens when you have true presence. When you have true presence, your energy is like 50x, okay? So whatever energy is in there, it's gonna 50x like that, okay? And it's just gonna touch people. Like you're gonna walk by and it's gonna be like a soft breeze that are just like a soft, warm breeze, right? In a summer day. And it's just gonna be like, what's that? And then they're gonna look at you. Now, the reason I know this is because I've truly tested this. So many times that, I have done this, these certain meditation things, okay? And I'm not talking about just normal meditation. I'm talking about very specific things. And then I walk outside, or then I go to a dinner, or then whatever. And all of a sudden, I just see a massive difference, an increase in people that look at me, right? Guys and girls alike, right? No diddy. But it's just something like you just pull people in magnetically. And I actually have an exercise, a meditative exercise that I give to people that I work with. And I'm not going to give it out here because I want to just reserve that one, because it took me a lot to discover that. And I want to reserve that exclusivity for people that actually, work with me. I hope you don't mind. But if you want to know more about that, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I also need to, I give a lot away for free here in these videos. And I also need to, reserve some stuff for people that actually work with me. But if you want to know that, then, just message me on Instagram, once again, the word group, and I'll tell you more about it. But anyways, it's this thing that I do, and I do with people, right? And I have people, clients do, etc. And it's literally, when you do that thing, the effect is what I just mentioned, okay? And I've seen this so many times, and I've tested it so many times. It's just night and day. It's just night and day, okay? So the combination of and I'm telling you guys, this is years of like figuring stuff out and observing things, and many, many social interactions, many fucking fighting interactions, confrontational moments, fucking all of the different avenues of social interaction, right? I'm not just talking about like meeting girls and this and that. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about you developing as a fucking elite level guy, okay? Not just like going out and picking up chicks, because I know a lot of you want to hear about all that, and we can do that, but I want you to be a high level dude, okay? I don't want you to just use this to like go have fun. No, I want you to use this to become the elite level guy that already walks in with all this pre-established value. And then is that guy on top of that? My God, you're gonna crush it. So anyways, that is the formula. The presence plus the internal confidence and self-image, etc. You mix those things, boom, you're like that glass thing that the sunlight shines through, and you're just burning shit right around you, okay? So anyways, there's many ways to get to that stuff, right? There's many ways to get to that stuff so that you have that magnetic energy. Another way, right, is the winner effect, which essentially means that, once you keep winning, right, and you can go from low to high. So I'll give you a quick example. If you boxers, they always, get these dummy fights, right? These journeymen that they fight in their first pro fights, etc. And then they build it up because it boosts their confidence. Even if they know this was a shit opponent, it still gives them that little thing. If they just hear, I just won, right? It still gives them that edge. It still makes them subconsciously feel like a winner more, right? And then when you feel like a winner, you fucking win more. You act like a winner, and therefore you win more, right? So those things are extremely powerful, right? And those are the things you want to be focusing on, because it's the 80-20, right? And then, as you remember, right, I told you about the superficial value. I told you about subcommunication. 1, superficial value. 2, subcommunication, right? Which signals value. Because if you speak in a different way, right, that is how you would talk if someone is below you, right? Which aka signals value, okay? Because usually if you do anything that insinuates that you're above a person and they're below you, which is usually acting like a bit of an asshole, right? Sometimes, that's just what it is. You don't need to only do that, but that is one part of it. then you usually up your value, and then you want to up the connection a little bit, and you want to dance between the connection bar and the comfort bar and the value bar. Okay, you want to dance between those. Okay, because only value is also not good. People are just going to think you're fucking dick, and they're not going to want to hang out with you at all. So you want to dance between those two. Okay, if you just think of something as a quick analogy, the very strict soccer coach or boxing coach or whatever, right? Or the very strict teacher that really didn't give you a lot of validation or connection, right? But then, and he was always just very authoritative, right? Very, very, like you didn't fuck with that guy. Well, if he then at some point gave you some sort of a connection or some sort of a compliment or whatever, it meant the fucking world to you, right? Just because of that dynamic that I just explained. And so anyways, going further down that list, that's your subcommunication. Then we talked about your energy, which is like just, oh my God, that's so powerful. And then next thing is how other people respond to you, okay? So whenever you're in some sort of a social setting, right? Whenever you're in some sort of a networking, sales meeting, whatever, how other people respond to you allows people to see how much value you have as well, okay? And so here is an interesting thing. People will say like, okay, having like, you know, a Richard Mille or having like a cool car, whatever, that, you know, some people say like, yeah, that really helps you socially. And some people say, no, it doesn't. Well, it depends what kind of context. If you're trying to network with guys, for sure it helps because guys are much more rational and logical. If you were trying to get girls or whatever, it doesn't necessarily directly help you that much unless you're really going for gold diggers, right? But it helps you indirectly, okay? And how does it help you? Because when you have that, right, or whatever, and you're walking into a venue, other guys are going to respect you more. Staff is going to respect you more, and they're going to treat you really well. And that is what a woman picks up on, okay? You know, in her subconscious. And even other women that are gold diggers, right? They're going to treat you really well, and they're going to come to you. So that is also, she's going to pick up on all of that. And that indirectly really boosts your value, okay? So indirectly. But anyways, how other people respond to you, okay? And so the main things that people judge your value from, the biggest things are your subcommunication and energy, the things that I explained, and how other people respond to you, right? How other people treat you, how other people, their subcommunication is to you. If other people walk up to you in a very inferior manner, your value just goes through the roof, okay? And so also, whenever you talk to another person, right, you have relative value, okay? And so then at that point, you're talking to this other person and you're talking in a way where they can just feel that, like, you feel that you're more valuable. Not in an asshole way necessarily. You can still be nice whilst being like that. But that makes them feel like, oh, this guy must have things going for him, really, right? Which may or may not be true, but it's going to help you to get more things going for yourself as well, right? If you have a good network and if you are able to establish connections like that, or even in a sales meeting, it's vital, right? Because you're communicating like you are in abundance. You're communicating like you are, right, having success. Well, then obviously you're going to attract more opportunities that are like that. 50 Cent once said, if you're hungry, right, nobody wants to feed you. Or if you need something, nobody wants to give it to you. But if you don't need anything, all of a sudden everybody's calling you and wants to give you stuff. Because people will only want to help people. People are only going to put in effort for people that they think are high value because they can get something out of it, okay? It's not that nice of a world that we live in necessarily, okay? You just got to keep that in mind. So anyways, that is the formula, fellas, for exuding value. And once you do that, I don't want to make the video that much longer because I actually have to go somewhere to lunch. But once you do that and you exude that value, the rest is easy. Because what is the rest? If you have exuded a lot of value, all you need to do is sprinkle in connection. Sprinkle in this side. Sprinkle in some comfort. Okay? So just ask a question. Just look at them for a little bit. Just stand with them for a little bit, right? Or just give them a reason, a specific reason of what you like about them, or what you find interesting about their business, whatever it may be. That's all you need to do. Just sprinkle that in a little bit. And or remember their name. Shake their hand. That's where the book comes in that I told you guys about. That's where the traditional things are valid. But once again, it doesn't mean jack shit because you can't do that without this. Okay, and so that is the formula for being actually, truly charismatic, influential, magnetic in any area that involves people, right? From the boxing gym, to the sparring, to the club, to the networking meeting, to the sales meeting. If you know this, and if you apply this, you're gonna crush it. I hope that helped, and I'll see you in the next one.